Hello, Serena. How you doing?
How are you? So happy to see you.
You too. My goodness, that introduction was very humbling. You did.
It's so easy. It's all true, and I'm so grateful that I get to give that introduction. So you truly have done extraordinary things in truly the short time that you have been, a soul living in this human experience in this world right now, and so much admiration for you, so much respect. You do truly inspire me so much, and I could go on and on about you for the hour, but I would love for you to just give these 600 some people. I'm so happy there's like 600 some people. I was like, are people going to come back on? And people came back on. They've been looking forward to seeing you. Just give them a little bit of background about you, how you got to here. And I know that a lot of people sent in questions about how you started your podcast and how you have amazing people on. I'm kind of like giving myself a pat on the back because I was one of those people. We're not talking about me. We're talking about all the other amazing people you've had on. So there were a lot of questions about that. And if you could just take the reins and let us know.
Oh, wow. Where do I begin? Firstly,
with you.
I mean, I just want to apologize. The last time that I was meant to come on here, I was actually doing a podcast and I got the times mixed up. But,
no big deal. We're here.
I guess I should start from the very beginning, right? So how did I get started doing the podcast? I mean, I didn't actually want to do it to begin with. I started the Storybox back in 2018 because I'm a filmmaker, or I wanted to be a filmmaker ever since I was 8 years old. So it was kind of like an opportunity for me to just rant and rave about movies, and that was the initial idea. So I love stories. So I hadn't seen many good movies with great stories in them. So I was like, what if I found some movies that had good stories in them and then kind of put them in this virtual box for people to go back to later on. So that was the initial version back in 2018. It was me and a mate just talking, going back and forth. But I didn't really have the commitment level. And I realized very quickly that it is very, very hard to do a podcast. It takes a lot of time. There's a lot of hours, and then I didn't have I say this is very important, I didn't have a vision or a mission behind why I was doing it really in the first place. It was just an excuse for me to talk. And it kind of fell flat on its face, and I went about my life. I kind of went into after school care, didn't have really much money at all, and I was kind of coasting through my life. I tried getting my film career off the ground. I did a number of times and it wasn't really going anywhere. And towards the end of 2018, I got into a relationship. Now, here's the important part. So this relationship that I got into, I put in my whole worth, my whole identity, my whole being into being with this person. And I didn't want to do anything else. So I didn't have any direction after that apart from, being with this person. And I was with this person for a good 6-7 months before it sort of fell flat on its face again, but I'll get into that in a moment. So come November of 2018, I ended up getting meningococcal, and I almost died from that, which is a massive wake-up call for me. And I talk about this in my book, actually. I was kind of I was wrestling with God for a good couple of hours. It was like having a dialogue back and forth. And he was just asking me all these questions, where in the world are you going, Jay? What are you doing with your life? And I couldn't answer him any of the questions. I didn't have any good answers for him. And it's funny because when you face a near-death experience, there's nothing like that to sort of make you question where you're going in life. And so come 2019, the very beginning of 2019, we had to put down our beloved German Shepherd dog of 11 years, who I was like this with her. I was super tight with her. And that was another wake-up call for me, because I lost someone very dear to me, super close. I absolutely loved her. and I didn't know how to deal with the emotion, the loss of her. And then straight after that, actually, the girl that I had loved and had put everything into, she broke up with me. And at the same time as well, I got a job in real estate, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing in real estate. I didn't really see myself doing real estate, sales, dealing with people. I'm an introvert. So like facing people, asking them questions, all that sort of stuff, I was like really nervous. So when I started, I was abused like there was no tomorrow. I was by my boss and by a lot of people, and I failed a lot. My second sale was like one of the worst experiences of my life, because the person that I sold the house to made me feel like I was this small. So it's things like that over time. And then sort of like midway through 2019, I tried getting my film career off the ground again, and things weren't going too well in real estate at the time. I was lost. I was very depressed, very anxious. I didn't know my purpose, didn't know my calling, nothing, didn't have much meaning about my life. And even though, I started towards the later end of me being in real estate, I started to get better and better at it, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I was chasing satisfaction. And there was a point in my life where during this moment, I'm driving home and I had just had enough, right? I didn't know where else to go. I had a bad day at work, and a sale fell through. My boss called me up and he just abused the living daylights out of me. And so I just thought, what's the point anymore? I'm just gonna end this. There's no, So on the drive home, I made the decision to.
Sorry, you broke up. I heard you were going to end this, and then you froze. So I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
I'm like, no. So okay.
The internet.
I'm so sorry to interrupt too. So you had I heard up to that point, and then you froze.
That's okay. I was on my way home, and I had just decided to pretty much end it all and end my life essentially, which is a very selfish thing for me to do, really, because I was just thinking about myself. I wasn't thinking about anyone else at the time. And I drove my car at 140 something kilometers, which is pretty fast here, those people if you're in Australia, towards the nearest telegraph pole. And the amazing moment in all this, I took my hands off the wheel and just let it be, waited for the impact. But the impact never came. And I watched the steering wheel turn away from the telegraph pole and just got me to the road again. And then my car came to a complete stop. From 140 kilometers to zero, wow. Complete stop in the middle of the road. And I put my hazards on, and that was the moment where I just broke down. And I didn't have the radio on, which is an interesting thing. So I turned the radio on, and there's a radio station here in Australia that I hardly ever listened to. And a song came on the radio, and this is the second time that it's happened. But this song has come on the radio exactly when I needed it to. It's a song by Third Day called I Need a Miracle. And I highly encourage you guys to go and listen to that song. I think we're breaking up a bit.
We are. So I heard you say the name of the song, I Need a Miracle. Mm-hmm.
So I Need a Miracle by Third Day, and I highly encourage you all to go and listen to that song. It is such a moving, powerful song, and I needed it in that moment, because that was one of the catalysts for me to sort of shift where my direction in life was going. And So I started looking for new jobs, and I applied for many different jobs. So mostly in real estate again. I don't know why I was doing it in real estate, maybe because I was familiar with it, but then also in recruitment. So I ended up going to a number of different interviews in that moment, and it was funny because a lot of the recruitment companies actually said, no, we don't want anything to do with you. We don't want to hire you. You know, you're in real estate, why don't you go back into real estate? But there was one company here in Sydney, Australia, that was one of the biggest. And just waiting for the internet to catch up.
We're doing good. We're continents away from each other. It's still a blessing, even if we have a little delay. So
how amazing is that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I went for this job interview at one of the top recruitment companies here in Sydney, Australia, and you know, the starting package, everything was so enticing, especially for I think I was 22, almost 23 at the time. So for a young person that age to be given like this grand picture of working for this company, you know, as they do, it was very enticing. So I was like, fantastic, I'm going to do the very best that I can. But it was a group interview. So there were 6 people in this interview, and I hate group interviews because it's kind of like you're fighting against each other. And trust me, I'm getting to how the story box came about. It's a very long story, but we'll get in there.
Love it. We're here with you. Yeah. We're here with you.
So I'm in this interview, and I'm just being me. I'm being my authentic self. In this interview, I was the only one that turned up in a suit and tie, which, funny enough, I was told that, you know, that is the best thing to do. And I was the least qualified person in this room. I was the youngest and the least qualified. But somehow, they loved me. They saw something in me when I didn't see it. And I ended up, they had this moment where you do a 10-minute interview with the CEO of the company. So I was nervous, but I remember walking in there, he's sitting down on one side of the room, and I sit down on the other, and he asked me this one question. And the question was, Jay, why do you want to work here? And I remember responding to him with, I want to help people. I didn't fully understand what that meant in that point. All I was thinking about was, hey, I was in real estate. I was helping people get a house. Maybe I can help people get a job. You know, so it was very, very much a shallow point of view that I was thinking at the time. But then when I went home, I went on the train, and I had a lot of time to think. And me thinking is a dangerous game, because I come up with amazing things sometimes. But in that moment, I just thought about my life, everything that had gone on that year, the year prior, the questions that I kept asking myself, and the direction that I was going, meaning and purpose. And that question that he asked me kept coming back. Why do you want to work there? I want to help people. Well, there's got to be something more to it than that. You know, I've struggled in my life with my own purpose, my own meaning, not just in the last, that period of time, that last 2 years, but for most of my life. I mean, it's a common thing. A lot of people don't know their worth. They don't know their direction or purpose in life. So I figured it out. I was like, my purpose is to help others realize that they are worth something. Their story matters.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, why don't I have conversations with people? And you know, I wasn't going to start the story box again, because I had done that in 2018, unless I had 1,000% commitment to it, and number 2, I had a vision and a mission behind it. Otherwise, it was going to fall flat on its face again. I didn't want that to happen. So I started reaching out to my friends and family and said, hey, I've got this idea called the Story Box. I love stories. Can I unbox yours? And they were like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And then from there, one person after the next, and COVID happened. So I went from doing in-person interviews to Zoom interviews, and that sort of just, it kept growing and growing and growing, and now I'm here. Serena, you're one of the amazing humans that came on the show. We had a great conversation. You've been a huge support along the way, and I can't take any of that for granted. You know, I say that I'm blessed to be doing this, and I'm blessed to be speaking to over 631 people, because I never thought that would actually happen 2 years ago. So,
well, we are. I mean, I truly feel that we're blessed for what you're doing. We're blessed for your journey. You know, so first, just thank you for sharing that with us. I think that you've inspired a lot of people, more than just the 600 that are on here, because every person that we inspire goes and shares that story with someone else. And I think that you're going to have a lot of people listening to Third Day? Third Eye.
Yeah, I need a miracle by third day.
Third Day, I Need a Miracle. I saw it show up a lot here. So I think that I'm definitely going to listen to it as soon as we're done. And here we are, Robin. So happy you have seen this. You are a very good human. I mean, so many people are just so grateful that you shared your journey with us, and that you're doing what you're doing now, because every time you unbox someone else's story, I feel that it's another gift that you're giving to the world, you know. And you guys, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge how humble Jay is, because he has had some incredible people on his podcast, and he hasn't shared a single name, so I'm going to. You know, he's had Tony Robbins, Rich Roll, Matthew McConaughey, Lindsey Stirling, Marisa Peer, Grant Cardone, Les Brown, people in like the speaking motivational space, Dean Graziosi. Who else? I mean, you've had so many people. Literally, he's had 400, or you probably have 500 people at this point, or close to it. And it's really such a gift, you know. So I just want to say thank you, because I know how much hard work goes into it. I mean, I don't know how much hard work goes into yours per se, but I know how much hard work goes into what we do. It's slightly different. Clearly, the audio and the video quality falls a little short when we do it via IG Live, but I know how much work goes into it, and so I just want to acknowledge you for that, and just say thank you. And again, I want to acknowledge our audience as well for being back here and being so participatory and sharing their thoughts and sharing their hearts. And Ed, I don't know if you're still on here. Thank you for my early birthday wishes. I did see that. I didn't want to interrupt at the time, but thank you for that. My birthday is tomorrow, and I'm not doing a live tomorrow, so thank you for that. So we've had so many questions come in, Jay, from the first time we announced that you're coming on, and then now, and it's always the same question. You know, people want to know how. You know, how did you get so people? And it's a tough question to answer, because I don't know, sometimes it's just kismet. You know, sometimes some person happened to, but there are obviously a lot of people that have started either a podcast or something, you know, of that nature in 2020, you know, in an effort to share as you share, or just connect or reach out and to try and build some community when they had to be home, you know. And so I think that's just a question that keeps coming up. I didn't even bother, because I mean, all the questions came up. How did he get so and so? How did he do this? You know, what does it take? What do you do? Of course, people are asking about your equipment and all of that too. So whatever it is that you feel in alignment to share. And thank you guys so much. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. You guys are wonderful. I just love you guys. so there you go.
Well, happy birthday for tomorrow, Serena.
Thank
very
you.
Exciting.
Thank you. Thank you.
I get asked this question a lot, actually, believe it or not. Mostly from some of my friends, but because it's almost like, how in the world can a 24-year-old get, you know, these incredible human beings on his show in such a short period of time, when so many people are actually trying to reach out to the same person? And, you know, I say this, like when I first started, it was just my friends, and I whether or not it was Instagram, whether or not it was email, I just asked. I asked the question because my grandfather used to tell me, he's like, if you don't ask, you don't get. And so I would go to people that I had wanted to speak to for a very long time, that I had known of, and I just asked them a question. I said, hey, are you willing to come on my show and share your story? Because I think there's a lot of fear associated with, you know, them actually sharing their story or people sharing their story. So I wanted to create a safe space for them to just, you know, be themselves and share whatever they wanted to share. It didn't matter what it is, regardless of my beliefs, regardless of my, you know, values, you name it. Because I believe that if we just be our authentic self, then people can see that, they connect with it, and therefore they're more than willing or welcome to be on your show. And so, you know, I didn't have this judgmental mindset. You know, it's funny because I never thought that I'd be getting, you know, some of my favorite people like Tony Robbins or Matthew McConaughey or anyone like that, or even you, Serena. I never thought that I'd be speaking with anyone like that in such a short period of time. But it goes back to, if I really, really wanted this person on the show, and it comes with a lot of rejection too. So like I faced so much rejection. I still face a lot of it. Like there's a lot of people that still say no, but I managed to, instead of looking at it from a no standpoint, I looked at it from a not now. And all that, because it might not be the right time for them. You know, you might not be at that level yet that they're expecting you to be at, especially if you're just starting out. So because I had just started out, everyone seemed to think like, you know, you got your own show. The first 6 months, are you going to get past that 6-month hump? And I got past it, and I started to notice there's a bit more traction. But it was a lot of persistence. So I say I persisted through a lot of it, because my philosophy and my saying that I love is be persistent to remain consistent at the things that you want. So if I really, really wanted this person on the show, then I needed to, obviously being respectful enough and not bombarding them, but persisting in that, you know, every couple of weeks, couple of months, I would be checking up and just asking a question again. Hey, are you happy to come on the show? And if they said no, that's okay. You know, my show is not going to diminish or anything like that. If one person says no, there's millions of people out there in the world, amazing human beings. In fact, billions of people that have a story. And my mission is to reach every single person on this planet. Crazy mission, I know. How are you going to do it? It's definitely possible.
Well, you're doing it. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's one step at a time. And I say to people, don't get ahead of yourself. Be patient. Wait. Even though it is hard. Like, you know, it's podcasting is such a saturated market, and my show is not, you know, one of the best shows out there, and I know that. And I don't expect it to be the best show out there. I don't even, you know, like I had this self-centered goal. I was like, you know, looking at Joe Rogan and you know, Lewis Howes and Jay Shetty, all those incredible humans that do podcasting. And I was like, well, my show is not anything like that. I want my show to be better than theirs. And I'm like, it was just, why don't I focus on the present moment and where my show is at right now and be grateful for that and not get ahead of myself to the point where I'm going to feel like, you know, it's interesting because if I get ahead of myself, then I feel down and I start beating myself up and, you know, I start getting into this woe is me mentality. But you just got to remember, be kind to yourself. It's okay if every story matters. Doesn't matter if the person is famous or not famous. I've had people that, have got millions of followers. I've had people that have got, 100 followers. It doesn't matter. Like, everyone's story matters. And, if I can, if I have the time, because it is just me doing it, then I will make an effort and bring you on the show and try and bring your story value. So I hope that answers the question and how I built it. It's just been this gradual thing over time.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And you shared so many really you just shared so many golden nuggets that I completely resonate with, and it very much what I've done as well. People ask me about how I built a celeb clientele, and it was kind of the same. First, one of my biggest things is I treat everyone the same. I really do. And I think that your energy and your authenticity really is almost like an unspoken language that's how we all connect to each other. And, when I first started doing things, I did the same. I had an opportunity to shoot a show in studio. It was a little studio. Now it's been shuttered since COVID, but I just had my friends come on. I had no idea. I'd never done media. I didn't really know exactly what I was talking about. I mean, I had some friends come on and they helped me sort of practice. And then I realized I just so loved, as we've done here today, as you do, with your podcast, just really loved highlighting and featuring an amazing human and something that they've done in their journey that brings value to anyone listening, that there's something that they can learn from, something that inspires them, and giving that opportunity to any person to really share that, because we're all kind of the same. We all kind of go through very similar ebbs and flows and hills and valleys in life. And so, and it just helps. And when you're in those valleys, you forget that everyone else has probably been through the same type of valley, and you feel very much alone. And so it's so wonderful to hear people like you, and other people that I've had on who they're now at a different place. They're at the hill, or at least one of the hills in their journey, and to be reminded that they went through several valleys, and it just reminds people. And so I kind of did the same. People ask me how I've had certain guests on. I did the same. I just sort of reached out and just wanted to share, their journey, wanted to feature them, or maybe something that they had created that they're putting out in the world now, whether it's a book or a product that I think is valuable to my community. Just as, I think what I've shared about you is so valuable, this podcast and everything, all the energy that you're putting into it, it goes out. It goes out and other people feel it and heal from it and are inspired from it. So I just resonate so much with so many of the points that you made, being persistent and to not judge yourself, and to really take moments to celebrate your wins, because when you think about if you're present with where you're at. Oh, that's Gizmo. He's coughing. Sorry for the interruption. His little cough. But just, as you were saying, if you are being really present in what you've created and how extraordinary it is, like what you've done, you're not thinking about what Jay Shetty or Lewis House or Joe Rogan's done, because that's their journey. You want some water? Okay. This is honey water break for Gizmo, you guys.
I understand. My dog is currently sitting on the couch. Currently, she's chilling.
Oh yeah.
I do also want to second that, and I didn't say this, but I don't do this for fame or notoriety. I don't do this, to get, what they call famous in the world. I do this specifically to help people. And if my story or someone else's story helps a person, even just one person, I'd love to help the millions of people out there, but the one person that hears this and gets helped, that helps me. Yeah. That just makes me smile, and I love smiling.
Yeah.
So and life is also about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, hey, I want this from you, I'm going to take this from you. It's how can I serve you?
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, that's kindness, and kindness begets kindness, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
when people, like, I have built relationships over not just this year, but last year that I never thought that I would. And it's been an incredible thing to see. And if someone needs help, I reach out to them again because I have that connection, and I've built that. It takes time, to build trust. But if you are truly being yourself, authentically you, and they can see that, because the world, there's enough inauthenticity out there. You have to be authentically you, and people can relate and connect with that. So, yeah.
And I agree. And when, your heart is in service, when that purpose behind your mission truly is to like bring value and serve, and help others, it really comes through. And I that's another reason why I think we connect so much. And I just am so happy and so grateful that we're connected. And for those of you who may have popped in and out, I have Jay's Instagram account pinned here on the comment. So make sure you go and you follow him and you catch up on, he's got hundreds of episodes. You're not gonna be like, even if you binge, it's gonna take you 2 weeks. But go and check out some of his episodes. They're so it's like life education, and it's so inspiring. And on top of it, he is just a wonderful host and interviewer. And you make people feel very comfortable. And so I think that there's a lot that comes out in your interviews, that may not come out in some of these people have done so many hundreds and thousands of interviews. But I think that what comes out because it comes through you is something that most people may not find in any other podcast about that individual guest. So I really encourage you all to go and go subscribe and check out his, and your podcast is it's on Apple Podcasts, it's everywhere, right? Like
it's everywhere. Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, YouTube. Everywhere.
Everywhere. So I really highly encourage you guys to go, and you can get to all the links from Jay's Instagram account. So if you just go there, he has like a link tree, and you can find the best platform for you to listen and watch. Let's see, what I follow mystery people. How do you know them? Kind of how we talked about today here. Some people I happen to know. Some people I did exactly what Jay did. I just reached out and was like, I just love what you're doing for this world. I love what your mission is, and I just want to feature you to my audience. If you have the time. And a lot of my guests, that's pretty much how we met and connected, and like you, Jay, it just became a beautiful connection or relationship there, even if it's just virtual like ours. I feel very connected to Jay, even though he's in Australia. We haven't yet hugged. It might not happen for a while, but we're connected here, and it's a beautiful thing. And I really do encourage other people to do the same. That's one of the magic things about social media or just the internet. There's a lot of things that people don't like about it, but this is one of the beauties of it. So thank you for letting me ramble on. But Jay, I know that you're also working on a couple big projects. So can you share a little bit? Can you give us a little bit of a teaser? I know we might come back on when there's more to share, but between now and then, can you tell us a little something? How can people sign up to know more?
There's a lot of amazing things going on. So first big thing is I am in the second last stage of the process of my book, which is super exciting. I never actually thought that I'd be an author or get a book published. but I received back the structural edit not that long ago, and I thought that it would be the worst thing ever. I thought there'd be so many edits that I need to make. There'll hardly be any. And I was so shocked.
Amazing.
I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It was over 200-something pages long, and everyone, I think people were probably wondering, 24, how much have you got to write? Trust me. There's a lot. And I didn't actually write everything. I didn't put everything into the book. There's only like specific things that I decided to get vulnerable about. It's a very, very intense read, but there's a lot of lessons in there as well. If you can get past the stories and get to the lesson, I think it's going to be helpful for a lot of people. And my editor, she put a couple of notes in there. I did not expect this, but she goes, I started crying in this part. I started crying in this part, and I'm like, I didn't mean for you to cry, because the whole story is, the whole book is about I title it The Path of an Eagle. So my life has been like this. It's been a living roller coaster ride up and down, and the title, my life verse is from this. It's Isaiah 40 verse 31, which talks about, for those people that hope in the Lord, they will renew their strength. They will mount up like wings like eagles. They will soar. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And really the idea behind that is, each time I have gone through a challenge, and there's a lot of them, or I've been faced with an obstacle, each time I've been knocked down, I can get back up and I can soar higher than I did before. So it's constantly going up and up and up in my life. And there's no end point until my life ends. But, that's the kind of message that I want to send to people, is that challenges that are there to help you, to improve you, to make you better. And I say, let challenges serve you, not the other way around. That's just one of the chapters, a little teaser there for you guys. And I say this as well in the first chapter. I spent a year writing what I didn't want to say, and a year writing what I needed to say. It was such a hard process, but it's another funny story. I shelved the book a couple of months into actually writing it, because I when I finished it, because I wrote it from a place of pain, and it was just terrible. The initial title that I was going for was "In Failure You Learn Humility." Shocking, but that's another one of my sayings now, because I know that I'm not infallible. I know that I'm not better than anybody else. I'm a human being. So I use that now, but it's not a title of a book. So, what ended up happening was I shelved it, and then a couple of months later, I'm having a conversation with my boss now actually, and he said, Jay, it's funny because you have these 4 P's that you live by in your life. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, you're persistent, you persevere, you pray, and you, what was the other one? I think you practice. And I was like, never thought of that before. And then
love that.
I actually came up with the title of my second book and the concept around my second book, which is The Way of an Eagle, which is 5 P's to help improve your life. These 5 P's are persistently practice prayer with patience and perseverance, and then you will be okay.
I love that.
And then
Jay.
it gets a lot better, because I actually when I finished, I was halfway through writing the second book, and I realized, hang on a minute, I haven't even finished the first book yet. So why don't I go back and finish the first book before I finish the second book? And that started the process of me unshelving the the actual first book and then revisiting the title and what I actually wanted to say. And then when I finished it, I sent it to about 10 different editors, all of which said no. All of which came back and said, no, I'm not going to even touch this. And I was just like down in the dumps. I was like, I'm not going to be an author, woe is me. And then, as you would have it, one Saturday, I'm walking through, we have a shop here in Australia called Dimmicks. And so it's a local shop for me. So I love my books. You can probably see, love my books. So I walked past this Dimmicks and there was a guy sitting there and he was selling his new book. And I happened to double take and we struck up a conversation. I asked him all these questions about his book, and then I told him about mine. And I said, at that point, I hadn't really finished. I had finished it, sorry. And I told him, and he said to me at the end, he's like, so if I can do anything for you, Jay, let me know. And so I didn't have an editor. And so I reached out to him and asked him, so who was your editor? And he gives me her details, and I sent an email to this lady who happened to be a very well-known editor and had done a lot of great books. And I didn't even know she was going to reply. She didn't respond for a while. And I think 2 or 3 days later in that process, I'm like nervous as anything. What's she going to say? She gets back to me and she says, Jay, what a beautifully written, authentic and powerful story that you have shared. I would be honored to edit your book.
Wow.
And I was like, no. No.
Wow.
And that was the realization moment for me. This is actually going to happen. So it's not just a fantasy anymore. This is really going to happen. And so she started the process in the 1st of March this year. She gave back the structural edit, which surprised me as well. And now we're moving on to the second edit, which is the copy edit. And that's where I am. That's one of the big projects that's coming up.
Yay! I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited. And, I know we're coming up to time, but there's something that you shared that I think is so important for us all to remember is that you released, in your healing journey, you wrote from a place of pain and you shelved it, but you went back to it. And I think that is something so important that people need to remember, however you express yourself and just to acknowledge yourself, in those moments, and then to go back and peel back the layers and work through that and heal it. And that's really what comes. It's such a powerful practice. And you did it through your book, but there's so many different ways that people can do it. So I just, wanted to point that out, that I found that to be incredibly powerful. And to just remind people that, you can write it, it can be good, not good. We'll put that in quotes, but that you didn't burn it. It was like you put it there. You said it's not maybe right now. And when I circle back, as I work on me, as I heal, I'm going to look at it through a different set of lens. And so, and look where that's taken you. And so, I don't know. I just think that is just such a beautiful story. I am so proud of you. I don't even know if I'm in a place to say I'm proud of you, but I am so proud of you. And I'm so excited. I can't wait for the book to come out. I think the second book is genius, and I can't wait for that one to come out as well. And I want people to go and just take a look at the pinned comment right here. You guys go follow Jay and I don't know if you have like a list or somewhere where people can keep up with the timeline for when your book comes out, and we should come here and do it again when that happens, because I'm so excited for it. So yes.
I'm gonna send you a copy of the book when it does come out. I might even send you after we finish the copy edit. I might actually send you that so you can read it and see what your thoughts are.
I would love to.
But trust me, it's a fun read, but it's a hard read. I think
that's life, right? I mean, and
exactly
you're
right.
part of my journey, so I resonate, and I know, that the challenges are gifts. You know, there's opportunities in the obstacles. Like everything is really like a learning. You know, it's a learning lesson. There are no failures. So yeah. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for all of these beautiful comments and support from everyone here. You guys are amazing. I acknowledge our audience. You guys are amazing souls. Thank you for being here. And Jade, is there anything else you want to share before we have to jump off? Anything else that you want to share? Sometimes I do a giveaway. We don't have that yet here. Plus, it's Australia. I try to send you something, and I heard there's like COVID things. Actually offline, we need to message about that so I can figure out how to get something to you, because I heard that like I can't send you just that water because it's like a food thing, and like there's some restrictions with COVID. But we can send you other things. But offline we'll have to talk about that. But if there's anything else you have to share, and you guys DM him if you have more questions about his journey, about his book, about his podcast, go subscribe. I would say DM Jay because he's awesome.
I look forward to all those DMs. I'll try and get back to each and every one of you that do want to reach out and ask a question. I do. My final thoughts for each and every one of you is thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to me. I hope that it was worth your time, and I want to say to you guys that your story is worth more than you know. So value it, cherish it. And if you want to start something, just start it and see where it goes, because you never know until you actually take that first step forward. Never would have been here if I hadn't have taken the step.
100%.
Yeah.
Such beautiful last words. I love it. Such beautiful parting words. Just temporary partition because, you know, we'll talk to each other in a few minutes offline, but, you know, beautiful words. And thank you so much, Jay. Thank you for being here today. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your engagement and your love and your energy. We will see you guys again very soon. And thank you so much for the birthday wishes, you guys. I love you all. So I'll talk to you guys all soon. Thank you, Jay.
Be blessed, everyone. Take care and be safe.